we said volume. We can do volume. So let's go over a couple questions from the homework, just to make sure you can do it. So let's start with number 5. I picked some of the fun ones with fractions and stuff. Let's make this a little bigger. Alright, so we have a cylinder. We're looking for volume, so we start our formula: volume equals area of the base times the height. So if we need the area of the base, we need to identify what is the base. So in this case, since it's a cylinder, our base is this circle here, also this circle on the bottom. So to find the area of that, we need to find area of a circle. This is my perfect circle here, and a diameter of 12. So we know area of a circle, the formula for that is pi r squared. Now what might cause you some trouble is it gives you this distance 12, but that is not the radius. The radius would be half of 12, so it's actually just going to be 6. So 6 squared. For pi, we said we're going to go easy on you today, so instead of using 3.14, we're just calling it 3. Okay, so 6 squared is 36 times 3. So the area of our base is going to work out to 108. And if we wanted to put units on that, that would be miles squared. It's squared here because this is just an area. That's a flat surface. That's just 2 dimensions. Okay, so we put that, bring that all the way back up here. So 108 times our height. And we're saying the height of the whole cylinder is the distance from one base to the other. So it's going to be 10.5. And so I can multiply this a little bit easier. Let's call it 10.5. So our volume here is just the product of 108 times 10.5. So let's do some multiplying. 108, 105. This looks kind of bad, but it's okay because it's ones and zeros in here. So this is 40. 0 plus 4 is 4. 5. Anything times 0 is just 0, so I don't have to do the second row. I'm going to skip right to the third row here and multiply by 1. So before I can multiply in the hundreds place, I got to bring down 1, 2 zeros. 108 times 1 is just 108. Add them up. 0, 4, 3, carry the 1, 1, 1. We just have one decimal place here. So there it is. And our volume is 1,134 miles. Seriously? That's huge. Okay, miles cubed. I can't even imagine what sort of cylinder has a 12-mile diameter, but oh well. Here's our answer. Alright, number 2. I like this one because it's a pain. Have a rectangular prism, a stick of butter looking thing. I didn't say but, I swear. So we're looking for volume. V equals area of the base times the height. Now I see this one here, 13 1/3, and I say I'm gonna save you for last, like a good dessert. So I'm gonna say, instead of calling my base the bottom one here, I'm gonna say my base is this side. Oops, that's not the best drawing. Okay, and the face opposite. I know I shouldn't call it sides; these are faces. The face opposite to that will also be a base. So here's our base, not a square, it's a rectangle. And this is where we take the idea of knowing that our bases are congruent to each other. These are exactly the same. So I know this side is 5, and this side it doesn't tell me, but I know on the other base it's called 4, which means I know this one is 4 as well. So this is 5 down here. So both of these have a base and height of 5 and 4. Okay? So area of a rectangle is just base times height. So 5 times 4, and that gives us 20. So you can say 20 square feet is the area of our base. We can bring that all the way up to our formula for volume. Now we're going to multiply it by the height. This is where it gets a little fun. And I mean fun in a multiplying by improper fractions is kind of fun. This is 13 and 1/3. Now I know I told you in class if you wanted to you can change this to a decimal and call it 13.3 or 0.33, whatever works for you. That's fine. We're gonna get the same approximate answer any way we do this. But to get the most exact answer, we can't change this to a decimal because this doesn't end. This is 0.3333 forever. I don't know what happened to this 3. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this as a fraction, but to multiply it, I can't multiply mixed numbers by whole numbers. We can, but it's awful. So I'm gonna change 13 1/3 into an improper fraction. So 13 wholes. If we split them into thirds, each whole number would have 3/3. If you think of like a fraction, and you split it into 3 pieces, each whole number would be 1, 2, 3/3. Okay, we do that 13 times for our 13 wholes. So 13 times 3 is 39. Plus the 1/3 that's sitting over here, that gives us 40 thirds times 20. And now we have a whole number times a fraction, and we remember that we can multiply this if we just change that whole number into a fraction as well. And we can do 20 times 40. I know 2 times 4 is 8, so 20 times 40 is going to be 800. 1 times 3 is just 3. And then we just say how many times does 800 go into 3? Oh, hold on, I'm turning sideways here. 800. Look at this handwriting. Oh man, I'm like a 5-year-old. Okay, 3 goes into 8. 2 times 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. Bring down our 0. 3 goes into 26 times. That's 18, 2, and 0. And we see this is going to repeat. So we get 266. Now, there's 2 ways we can go about doing this. One way is to just keep going. And just to put 0.66. And then we recognize, oh, well, 0.66 repeating, that's 2/3, right? So we know our answer is volume 266 and 2/3 feet cubed, cubic feet. Okay? There's another way to think of this, especially if you don't know what this fraction is that's repeating, is once we get, and this is what you did back when you first learned to divide, and they would say like 266, and they'd have you put something that I get upset at you for doing now. They'd say 266 R2, right? Now what this is meaning is that we still have 2 left to divide, so we're dividing 2 by 3. Dividing 2 by 3, why does that sound familiar? Well, when we divide 2 by 3, that's 2/3. So anytime you divided and you did remainder, you were just leaving it as a fraction. Except I didn't tell you to do that, because I don't know. But they didn't. But that's what happened. So if you put 266 2/3 or 266.66 repeating, or if you rounded this off and got something a little bit less than that, like 265, 260, you're fine. As long as you get this basic idea and you're close to this number, you'll be alright. Okay? Alright, one more. Triangular prism. This time it doesn't give you the picture, so we're going to draw ourselves a picture. So, let's see. What color do we want to use? Let's go purple. Triangular prism. So I'm going to draw a triangle. Perfect triangle. Perfect. I'm going to draw that same triangle behind it. Also perfect. And then I'm just going to connect my vertices. Now let's see what information it gives us. It says the base of the triangle is 9 centimeters. Bam, 9 centimeters. The altitude, which is just another way of saying height. And more specifically, when you see altitude, it's almost, I don't want to say almost. It's usually referring to a triangle. So, and especially if you look at the next one, it says the height of the prism is 15 centimeters. So this height has to be talking about the triangle because that's the only height that's left. So this has to be 1 centimeter. So my picture's not completely accurate, but whatever. It's close enough. We get their idea. So we need, I think we need volume, right? So volume is area of the base times the height. We identify our base here, which is our triangle, our perfect triangle. We look at our formula for this. Since it's a triangle, area of a triangle is 1/2 base times the height. We put in our numbers here. Half the base of the triangle we said is 9. Height of the triangle we said is 1. We do our calculating here. Half of 9 is 4.5. 4.5 times 1. Any number times 1. It's just itself. So our area of our base, big B, is 4.5. So that goes into our formula. 4.5 times the height. The height of our prism, distance from one base to the other. I really should label both my bases. Okay. So 4.5 times 15. Just one last bit of calculating and then we'll be done here. We're going to be so good at multiplying when we're done with this. 22, 0, 5, 4, 5, 7, 6. We only have one decimal place here. So we get 67.5. So our volume is 67.5 centimeters, our unit, cubed because it's volume. And there you go. If you still have questions, don't forget tutoring Wednesdays and Thursdays. Also make sure you get your late work in because grades close on Friday. Alright, don't forget, tell your friends so if they don't get the message that they can still watch it. Alright, good night.